So 2010, that's when you debut. When did you start writing for specifically books?
When did I start writing?
Because I assume you must have had some kind of writing routine down just from all the scripts and things for.
Right. Yeah. You know, I was always writing. I actually went to graduate school at the Writers Workshop in Iowa, and then transferred to to Binghamton University in New York, where John Gardner was teaching, and took his workshop. And so I got my MA in writing. And so I was probably I don't know what I was thinking I was going to do, write novels. I don't know. And then that I was there when he was killed in a motorcycle accident. And so everything just kind of fell apart for me. You know, I just quit. I left school. I did get my MA eventually, but I left school and I just kind of, I quit writing. I went back to theater, and for a very long time. So, but during that time, I wrote some stories that were published in, magazines and journals, and and so I was always writing.
John Gardner, that's a name that I'm sure most of the esteemed audience, since we're talking primarily to a lot of writers out there, are going to be poking their heads up like, ooh, I've read him. So what was the experience of being taught by John Gardner? What did you have something that you took away from him?
He was a really great teacher. And it was a long enough time ago that I don't know if I can remember very much that would be useful. But one thing I really loved about him is he would say something very emphatically, like, you should never do this or that. Just never do it. You know, of course, there are exceptions. And then he would then contradict himself in the next sentence. And he would say, I know I'm contradicting myself. But he was, the one thing that I remember, especially from him, and I have it on a sticky note stuck up near my desk, is I went to see him in his office one time, and he said, I hope you're not going to any of your other classes. Because I was taking a full load of graduate courses, Shakespeare and Victorian writers and, what all. And I have that. I kept that, and I realized once I started writing novels exactly what he was talking about. You write a novel, you can't go to any of your other classes. You have to just do that one thing. And so what that little sticky note tells me is, this is what you're, when I'm working on a novel, this is what you're doing. So there's a lot of things you have to just set aside. Whatever you can set aside.
Yeah, good luck with children.
You can't set aside children, but you can set aside housework and cleaning your attic, and a lot of other things that can wait.
Oh, frequently I find that when I'm sitting down to write, if it's a bad day, it's not coming that day, or I'm distracted, then the dishes were never more crucial. They must be done. My God, what am I waiting for?
Well, it's always easier to do the dishes.
When you're writing, since you're trying to limit as many other activities as you could do, are you still reading for pleasure, or do you read when you're not writing?
I try to read as much as I can. It is, that is a really tricky thing, because I feel like you need to read. I need to read, and I want to read, but when you're writing, and especially I think with a novel, there's so many words to be written, and it's time consuming. It is hard to squeeze in reading. Of course, I'm always reading for research, no matter what I'm writing. So there's that. But I always read before bed, or in bed before I go to sleep.